For years, Drake built his entire image on the illusion of invincibility. He was the man who couldn't lose, to rivals, to critics, to time itself. Every diss, every scandal, every controversy seemed to bounce right off him. Even when the public started questioning his authenticity, his fan base always came to his rescue, flooding the internet with excuses and explanations. But that armor is finally cracking, and this time it's different, because now, Drake isn't just facing memes, subliminals, or rap beefs. He's facing the consequences that he can't control. After losing his major lawsuit, the internet has been buzzing with the same question. Is Drake finally unraveling? For the first time in his career, his voice doesn't sound confident. His words don't sound rehearsed. Instead, they sound like the confession of a man who's been cornered by his own reflection. In a recent post, Drake indirectly admitted he's not doing okay. He talked about energy shifting, fake love, and reevaluating what really matters. But behind those vague captions and half smiles lies something raw, a man watching his empire start to crumble from the inside. And the timing couldn't be worse. Because while Kendrick Lamar's tour continues to dominate headlines, Drake's name keeps trending for all the wrong reasons. The world that once crowned him untouchable is now watching him spiral. Let's talk about the moment everything changed. Drake's lawsuit wasn't just a legal loss. It was a symbolic defeat. For years, he's moved like the music industry's golden child. Untouchable, protected, and favored. But when the judge called him out, telling him to stop crying and get back in the booth, that wasn't just courtroom talk. It was the world telling Drake exactly what fans have been feeling for months, that his excuses have run out. The lawsuit's verdict hit harder than a diss track. It didn't just cost him money. It stripped him of the victim narrative he'd been trying to spin. And instead of coming out swinging, Drake retreated. He went silent on social media, canceled appearances, and posted cryptic, emotional captions that sounded less like confidence and more like someone in denial. It's ironic. Drake, the man who built his empire on vulnerability, suddenly can't handle being vulnerable in real life. And while his lawyers were fighting to save his public image, his fans started noticing something else: Drake's emotional unraveling. He started making defensive comments on live streams, posting late-night rants about fake people and industry snakes. The same man who once bragged about never taking an L is now losing battles in court, in music, and in public perception, all at once. Let's be honest, Drake's behavior lately doesn't look like confidence. It looks like burnout. The lawsuit loss wasn't the only blow. It was the final domino. Over the past few months, fans have noticed how different Drake sounds in interviews and lives. He looks tired. His tone is defensive, and even his music feels forced, like he's trying to convince himself he's still on top. Remember the days when Drake dropped an album and the world stopped? Now, his releases come and go with more criticism than excitement. Fans mock his lyrics. Critics question his authenticity. And even his peers, artists who once praised him, have started distancing themselves quietly. Behind the scenes, insiders claim Drake's been struggling to keep his inner circle tight. People he trusted for years have reportedly started walking away, either out of exhaustion or self-preservation. And to make matters worse, every emotional post, every rant, every defensive move gets screenshotted and dissected by the internet. The more he tries to look unbothered, the more transparent his pain becomes. Because when you've spent your entire career portraying perfection, the slightest crack looks like a collapse. The court may have ruled against Drake legally, but the real trial is happening online. Twitter threads, Reddit discussions, YouTube breakdowns. Everywhere you look, people are analyzing Drake's downfall in real time. And it's not just haters this time. Even longtime fans are starting to admit what many avoided for years, that Drake's losing touch. They talk about how he's disconnected from the culture that once embraced him, how his lyrics sound out of place in 2025, and how the lawsuit only amplified what everyone already suspected, that the Drake era might actually be over. What's interesting is that Drake seems aware of it. He's been posting subtle jabs, quoting Bible verses, talking about letting God handle things, as if he's trying to convince himself that there's still meaning behind the chaos. But the energy is different now. Drake sounds like someone reacting, not strategizing. And that's when you know the tides have turned. Because the Drake we once knew, the one who'd clap back with a chart-topping single or a viral bar, is now letting the world talk while he spirals in silence. For years, Drake's dominance made him the industry's center of gravity. Everyone wanted a feature, a co-sign, a tour date. But when that lawsuit loss went public, and when he started showing signs of emotional instability, the industry started to back away. You can see it in real time. Artists who once celebrated him are now aligning with his rivals. Media outlets that used to protect him now treat him like content. Even his label seems hesitant to push his projects the way they used to. It's not that people suddenly hate Drake. It's that they don't trust him anymore. Because in an industry built on power and perception, weakness is contagious. And Drake's public unraveling has made him look vulnerable, not emotionally, but strategically. The man who once dictated the culture is now reacting to it. And that shift is something Drake may never fully recover from. Then came the moment fans never thought they'd see. Drake, in a rare late-night rant, admitted that he's not in the best place right now. He said he's been trying to stay strong, but life's been testing him. It wasn't the usual cryptic post or polished PR statement. It was a confession. And for many fans, that was the moment everything clicked. The lawsuit, the emotional breakdown, the defensive interviews, it all made sense. Drake is finally feeling the weight of years of pressure, criticism, and backlash. He's not the unshakable Six God anymore. He's just Aubrey, tired, overwhelmed, and running out of ways to hide it. What's haunting is how the internet responded. Some people laughed. Others felt sympathy. But most agreed on one thing. This is the most human Drake has ever looked. Unfortunately, in a world of fame, vulnerability isn't always rewarded. And while his honesty earned him temporary empathy, it also confirmed what critics have been saying, that Drake's reign is no longer built on strength. It's built on survival. When you strip away the fame, the money, and the followers, what's left? Drake's always surrounded himself with people. But lately, the silence around him feels louder. He's been spotted alone more often. His usual entourage seems thinner. And while he's still living in luxury, his energy feels hollow. Behind the walls of his Toronto mansion, the man who once sang about no new friends is realizing he doesn't have many old ones left. Because the truth is, the higher you climb, the lonelier the fall. People close to Drake say he's been retreating, reflecting, and questioning his future in music. Some even claim he's considering a long hiatus to reset, something unthinkable just a few years ago. But maybe that's exactly what he needs. Because as the lawsuits, critics, and internet noise pile up, Drake's biggest battle isn't with anyone else. It's with himself. Drake's story has always been about control. Controlling narratives, emotions, and public perception. But now, he's lost control of all three. The lawsuit stripped him of credibility. The public turned his confidence into comedy. In his own words, his confessions exposed the fragility behind the brand. It's a tragic irony. The man who once made vulnerability a superpower is now being destroyed by it. Maybe Drake will bounce back. Maybe he'll drop another hit and remind the world why he dominated for over a decade. But even if he does, something fundamental has shifted. Because this time, the people aren't just watching for music. They're watching for cracks. They're waiting to see if Drake can rebuild, or if this is truly the beginning of the end. I want to hear from you. Is Drake being humbled, or is the industry turning on him? Thanks for watching. Remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you're new. And as always, stay active.